Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a worth the buy or not review on a pretty new product. This is actually the Bare Minerals Bare Pro 18-hour full coverage concealer. This is what it looks like. It was at my local Ulta and I was like, this looks really interesting. Maybe I should test it out. So I decided to give it a try. It comes in this type of packaging like this. I kind of like the fact that it comes in this stick because I'm able to kind of like really use it for on-the-go purposes. Like I feel like my other concealers that are with doe foot, it's more when I want to like dress up and do like a full face. But I feel like this is really like carry-on friendly. So if you're gonna be on the go, you're working, you're in a rush, I feel like this is really cool concept because it's not messy, like it's quick and easy. You can just touch up certain areas and you're good. Now for my skin, I actually just used the YSL all-in-one skin tint. I'm using this because I wanted something that still gave me a little bit of radiance and also that you could still kind of see my imperfections so that I could go back in with the concealer and conceal the areas where I feel like I need a little bit more coverage as well as my under eyes. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. Let me see if this has any, okay, so it says that it is 16-hour wear concealer. It is a one swipe coverage. It's a soft matte finish, waterproof, smudge proof, crease proof, dermatologist tested, and I think that's all. So this is pretty interesting. This does retail for around like $24. I want to say between 24 or 26, but I will have that in my description box down below. So let's just go ahead and try this out. Real quick, this is in the color Tan Warm 09. So we are up close and personal. And first I'm gonna be taking it on this side. Ooh, I like this consistency. You can definitely tell that it is kind of like a soft matte, but it still has that really nice like creamy consistency. It reminds me very much like of a stick foundation type of feel when you glide it on the skin, but it's a little bit thicker than like the Makeup Forever stick foundation. I would say it's more like the Lancome. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out with my Morphe sponge and see how this does. Okay, good. I thought it was gonna be a little hard to blend out, but it actually isn't. And I like this color because I feel like it's automatically brightening my under eye. I feel like it made a huge difference. Do you see how much brighter this looks than this eye? I feel like it looks much brighter. This eye has a little tiny bit of like, I don't want to say darkness, but it's definitely not like evened out right here. And it blended out well with the tinted moisturizer. And I feel like the coverage is a pretty nice like medium to full coverage type of concealer. When I first was gonna go in with a sponge in my head, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like this isn't gonna blend easy because I just felt like it was a little bit thicker, but I feel like it blended out pretty good. So I think I'm gonna apply, do I wanna go in with a little bit more? Maybe I'm gonna take a little bit more right here. This is actually pretty cool. I like the concept. I like it being in this form because I feel like it's less messy, and I like the fact that it's not so like runny. It's more of like it, like once you stripe it on, it just stays there. But the problem with that for people that have like a lot of little creases on their under eye may be that it could cause for there to be a lot of creasing. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now, because I always crease no matter what concealer I use, I've tried so many and it's never not gonna crease, I'm gonna put a little bit of powder. I'm gonna use my other Morphe sponge, which I use for baking, and I'm gonna use my Airspun powder. You don't have to use any expensive powder. I find that this Airspun powder from Walmart, if you haven't tried it, is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm just gonna apply that right on my under eye. I probably shouldn't apply mascara on my under eye because I just covered it with powder. Oh well. So I'm just gonna bake it right there. I think this will also help for people that do have to bake because they have the same issue as me, because then you can see if the concealer is going to look too thick. Because it is more of a matte consistency, I'm afraid that maybe it's going to look like I have a lot of product on my under eye with the powder. So we'll have to see that, but I just leave this on for a few minutes and then I go and brush it off and it stays crease free for a good, I wanna say like 7 to 8 hours, which does not happen ever when I do not set my concealer. My concealer will always budge unless I set it. So this is something that I've been doing a lot lately. I think before I was just like lazy. I was like, whatever, but like it really does make a difference for me. So now we're gonna go on to this side. I just like how it stripes. Like it just stripes so nicely on the under eye. Like it's a smooth stripe down, and you can see there's a lot of pigmentation in the concealer. And do you see how quickly and nice that blends? That's really cool. I'm looking at it up here and you don't see like any thickness. Yes, it is a matte concealer, like I mentioned, like a soft matte, but it still looks like a hydrated eye, which I really appreciate, because when something looks way too thick, I'm like, uh-oh. So maybe this will work, but we'll have to see once it sets, because I like to leave that on for a few minutes, but up close it looks really, really good. Really good. Okay, and now we're gonna go in and just conceal a little bit on any areas where we feel like we could still use a little bit more product. So I feel like there's a little tiny bit of redness right in these areas right here. So I'm just gonna make like little X's. Right here I have a little blemish. And then my nose a little bit right here on the tip. Oh, I love how creamy this feels. I actually really am liking this. Okay, it's covering and it's not enhancing like any texture, which I appreciate. You can see how it covered a little bit more of that redness. Because we went in with just a tinted moisturizer, I feel like it's always a little bit harder to get like super full coverage results. But I feel like if you need to conceal anything more, you can always go in with a concealer and just kind of wrap things up in the area where you feel like you need a little bit more coverage. And you could probably also even use this by yourself without any type of tinted moisturizer or foundation. If you have really good skin, or you're really confident that your skin, you know, you're proud of the way your skin looks, however it may look, which is totally awesome. But I like how this blends out. It blends out so beautifully with the sponge. This would also be even good for highlighting, like if you want to highlight your T-zone. So I'm gonna let this bake for a second, and I will come right back and give you guys my very first impressions on this product, so that we can go ahead and start our day and see how this Bare Minerals Bare Pro concealer works. Okay, so I went ahead and wiped off the powder on my under eyes, and the creasing is not there. It is crease free right now, which is great. I'm telling you, the baking method always helps. But I do have to say, I feel like it looks a little bit thick on the under eye. Like I feel like it looks more of like matte. I think it's because of the powder. When I didn't have the powder on and it wasn't baking, it looked very like hydrated and fresh, but I feel like now that I took off the powder, it definitely is like stuck on there, and it looks a little bit more thick in consistency. If you look really, like if you're like this close to me, you're going to be able to see that it looks like I'm wearing like a more heavy product. But I think that if you don't have issues of creasing, like if you don't really crease, I don't think you need to use any type of baking method if you want to keep that refreshed look. But if you crease a lot, then there's no way. Like I crease all the time. I use Tarte Shape Tape crease. I use other concealers that I like. I do crease. It's very rare that I don't crease. I usually crease within like 2 hours. So this method has helped me a lot. It's nothing unbearable, but it's definitely like if you don't want to look like you're wearing a heavy concealer or heavy product, then you probably don't want to do the baking method. Now, for somebody that's looking for a very natural concealer, something that they can just stripe on and blend quickly and then go, they don't have creasing issues, they like that natural finish, I think this is gonna be a good one. I went ahead and looked at the rest of my skin. It looks really good. The concealer blended out really nicely with my forehead. It didn't break apart or anything, which is always a plus. My nose area too. My cheeks look pretty good too as well, where I did conceal. So I'm really happy about that. But first impressions, I really am liking. I'm liking the whole concept of this concealer. And I do have to say, Bare Minerals does come out with some really good products when it comes to like really catering to the skin, and not so much like looking beat and looking like, oh damn, she's got a full beat face of makeup. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Bare Minerals caters more to like just giving you that really nice, perfected, beautiful from within type of feel, and I'm getting that out of this concealer, which I really appreciate. I've tried some of their foundations and I've used some products on clients when I've done makeup in the past, and they really enjoy it, and I really enjoy how it turns out on their skin. So I have to say that so far I'm getting really good like everyday feels off of this concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wear this and really feel it out for the next few hours and see how it does, and then I will come back and give you my final thoughts and see if this concealer is worth the buy or not. So stay tuned. Okay, so I am back. It is the very end of the day and I actually don't want to take this off. Like, I feel like it looks so good. Usually you guys know that I'm always like, oh my god, I'm so ready to take off this makeup, but right now I just feel like my skin looks really good. I feel like it needed definitely like a moment for the concealer just to kind of like get in place and set, but it looks so good and there's no creasing whatsoever. I feel like the concealer looks like it's really covering those under eyes, and I feel like for somebody that has a lot of darkness or has not too much darkness, I feel like it will work for everybody. It's a very buildable concealer. You guys saw that I went in with 2 layers and it just blended out so beautifully that I was shook. The only complaint I had, like I mentioned, was that when I very first wiped off that powder, I did see it look a little bit too like full. I felt like it was kind of looking like you had a lot of product on there, but now after a good amount of hours, it definitely set in very nicely. It looks fine. There's no creasing, which is what I always need because I crease like crazy. It's in a package where I personally feel like is more convenient for people that they don't wear a lot of makeup. Like if you're somebody that you really don't wear that much makeup, you just do mascara, maybe brows, some chapstick, you don't wear foundation or tinted moisturizer, but you want something to cover certain blemishes or you want something to cover those dark circles, this is great because you just go in, go where you need to go, blend it out, blends fantastic, and it stays on. I feel like that's so important, especially if you're going to be working 9 to 5 or if you're going to be at school all day long and you just cannot worry about this. I feel like this is the way to go because it's gonna be on there. So I am really impressed, and I do feel like Bare Minerals naturally comes out with really good products. I remember people used to always come in for the Mineral Veil powder by Bare Minerals, and I was always like, oh my god, this must be magic. And one day I tried it and it was really good, especially on the under eyes. I think they like to use it to go ahead and kind of bake or just set your under eye. Now I do quickly want to say, if you're somebody that is just going to set the under eye and then wipe it right off, it'll be fine because it's not sitting on there. I feel like because it sits on there for me when I'm baking, that's when it creates a problem and it becomes a little bit more thick. But if you're somebody that's just going to wipe it within like a minute and you just kind of wanted to set it, I think you will be okay with just that. I just personally, like I mentioned, I can't do concealer unless I really bake it, but it wasn't that big of an issue for me. It didn't bother me. As the day went on, I noticed that it started to look much, much better. It didn't even look like I had like this heavy product on there. So I think that's a really good thing. But nonetheless, it feels super lightweight and super good on the skin. So I have to say this is a big winner for me. I feel like for every day I'm going to be using it non-stop, and that's what I really appreciate from a product. And that's all. So if you guys enjoyed watching this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys enjoy watching these videos, and if you guys want to see more from me, then please go ahead and leave down your suggestions for what you want me to do for the next worth the buy or not video. I do have this week planned out, but next week, if you guys have suggestions, foundations, tinted moisturizers, concealers, I really want to try the Laura Mercier concealer. I've heard really good things about it, so I want to try that. So just let me know and I will definitely be on that. And if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. We are so close to 13,000 subscribers, which means that we are kind of close to 15,000, which is our goal here. So let's get up there. So don't forget to subscribe right now so you can become a member of our family here on YouTube, because I wouldn't want you guys to miss anything. And that being said, I'll be seeing you guys very, very soon for a brand new video. Bye guys.